Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. My name is Mordecai the Hunter, and today I just wanted to take a minute to show you my main match shotgun. This here is an Ithaca Model 100 12-gauge double-barrel shotgun manufactured by SKB in Japan. The 100 is the base model, and as you can see, it's relatively plain. I do have an SKB 150 that I use as a backup, which is functionally the same, but has more intricate engraving on the receiver. There are some more high-end models with real fancy finishes and better wooden stuff, but they also fetch top dollar for guns that aren't really cheap to begin with. Anyway, their reputation for being durable and reliable has made SKBs some of the most popular side-by-sides in the game. Now, the main reason that I chose this shotgun specifically is that it has a single trigger instead of two. An easy comparison is a Stoker coach gun, which has a trigger for each barrel, whereas this gun uses an inertia system to reset in between shots. This little button here allows me to switch which barrel fires first. I currently have it set to the left barrel since I normally shoot from left to right, but at the distances we're playing at, it probably doesn't matter. You can also upgrade to a mechanical trigger, which will allow you to fire both barrels when it's empty, but I seem to hear a lot of horror stories about them, and there are other guns that have those installed already if you want to go that route, like Browning BSS or some of the new Turkish guns that are coming out. Another reason was the narrow neck on this gun, and the contours just seem to really fit my hand well. I tend to gravitate towards pistol grip long guns, partially because I think they fit me better, but honestly, I also just think they look really cool. The length of pull is around 14 inches, which is perfect for me, and it points naturally when I shoulder it, so it was really a great fit. This little button on the back here is the safety, and that brings us to our first modification. On most shotguns, the safety will automatically activate when you open and close the gun, which is fine for a bird gun, I guess, but I have to open and close this thing several times on a stage, and I don't want to be messing with that, so it's been disabled. Now, the safety does still work if I activate it manually, but a lot of folks have them completely disabled. To be fair, I have had a stage where I discovered that it was activated somehow before the timer went off, and it cost me several seconds and some pride, so now I just check it when I'm prepping a stage. While we're back here, I'll point out that some folks do like to bend these levers to make them quote-unquote easier to open, but I like mine where it is. A standard action job on these does usually involve lightening the mainspring here to make them easier to open, though I'm told these are pretty smooth from the factory anyway. Now that we have the action open, I'll point out the next big modification, which is the Bevel Chambers. You can see that they've been ground down to make it easier to roll the shells in. I also have a virgin barrel set here so that you can see the difference. I also really like that the 100 and 150 models have one-piece extractors. The 200 nut models have two-piece ejectors, which is again cool for a bird gun, but you can't have ejectors in the game and you always shuck two anyway, so it doesn't really help you. Most folks with the higher end models remove the springs and then weld the two together for reliability, but for me it was already done. Anyway, a couple other modifications you can't really see is that the chambers themselves have been polished to help the hull slide out, and the forcing cones have been lengthened to reduce the felt recoil, which makes a big difference for quick follow-up shots. Moving on to the front of the gun, the top of the barrel has all of our identifying marks. I never really noticed that it was for 2 3/4 inch shells only, but it's not like we need 3-inch shells for Cowboy, so I guess it doesn't matter. Chickering is super nice on these guns, and it does help a little with the grip. I know some folks like to get a wrap, but they never really appealed to me, so I don't know, maybe it's a black powder thing. Two modifications at the end of the barrel here. We have a large brass bead rather than the factory sight, which had to be replaced when the barrel was cut down. There's no real advantage to the longer barrels in this game, and it can actually make it more difficult to get in and out of doorways, windows, or whatever obstacles the stage has, so just about everyone cuts them. I have this one cut down to 22 inches, which I feel is a good length for weight and balance without sacrificing maneuverability. And it also leaves enough weight on the front where I can leave the mainspring a little heavier without worrying about it dropping open. Just about everyone has an opinion on the ideal barrel length, so be sure to try out some different lengths and just see what works for you. The last modification, I guess, is really just decoration. I have some amateur leatherworking experience, so I made this buttstock cover to conceal the shoulder pad. These aren't super complicated to make, but you can buy nice looking ones at a pretty reasonable price, so don't worry about that if you don't have the time or desire. Overall, I've been super happy with the performance of this shotgun. The only thing holding me back is me, and I can focus on my technique rather than worrying if it'll work when I need it to. If I had to have a gripe about it, I know the stocks tend to form cracks where these pointy bits in the receiver are, and they don't make these anymore, so at some point I'll have to repair or replace them. I will also mention that the price tags seem to keep getting higher, but I've noticed that more manufacturers are making side-by-sides now, which is super awesome, so maybe the next hot coach gun will be a little easier to get your hands on. And if you're just getting started, there are a lot of cowboys that swear by their Stoger coach guns, and what works for me may not be what you need right now. So borrow if you can and try other SAS legal shotguns while you're at it. You may find that a 97 pump or an 87 lever shotgun to be more your style, but that's a conversation for another video. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions or want to hear about something I didn't bring up. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll see y'all on the range.